Hello students, good morning all of you. Today I Rabindra Mohan Mishra from Sri Jagdamba Sanskrit College Batho am taking the class of Shastri second. Today we see the summary of the play The Merchant of Venice, Act 3, Scene first. We have seen many explanations from different scenes of Act 3. Today we see summary of Act 3 scene first. This is a very critical scene for the point of view of Antonio who loses his ship and for the point of view of Shallow who has seen the elopement of his daughter. In Venice, Celerio and Selenio discuss Antonio's financial state. Selenio and Celerio discuss the unlucky events that have befallen Antonio. It is rumored that another of Antonio's ships have been wrecked. Celerino and Selenio discuss the rumor that yet another of Antonio's ship has been wrecked in a very bad condition. They are joined by Shylock, who accuse them of having helped Jessica escape. The two Venetians proudly also take credit for their role in Jessica's elopement. Shylock curses his daughter's rebellion, to which Saladino responds, "There is more difference between the flesh and hairs than between jade and ivory." Saladino then asks Shylock whether he can confirm the rumors of Antonio's lost vessels. Shylock replies that Antonio will soon be bankrupt and sweet to collect his bond. Saladino doubts Shylock's resolve, wondering what the old man will do with a pound of flesh, to which Shylock chillingly replies that Antonio's flesh will at least feed his revenge. In a short monologue, Shylock says Antonio has mistreated him solely because Shylock is aged, but not Shylock is determined to apply the lesson of hatred and revenge that Christian intolerance has taught him so well. Celeno and Celerio worried that Antonio will be ruined because of the cruel bond that Antonio has made with Shylock. Celerio has received confirmation that one of Antonio's merchant vessels was wrecked in the English Channel. As the two laments this ill news, just then Shylock himself burst. He is bitter with both men for their knowledge of Jessica, for the knowledge of Jessica elopement before the fact, but they simply mock him in return. Shylock accuses Selenio and Celerio of having helped Jessica elope from his house. They boast that indeed they did help. Shylock damns them. When Saladino says that Jessica was old enough to choose her own husband and leave home, Shylock responds that no, she is his flesh and blood and should have stayed with him. Saladino taunts him that there is more difference between thy flesh and her than between and ivory. The conversation turns to Antonio, on whom Shylock is intent on wreaking his revenge according to the term of the bond. Shylock and Antonio have made a perfectly legal contact. The Christians see Shylock's actions as cruel. Shylock then asks whether Shylock has heard any more news of Antonio's losses at sea. Shylock says he has, and ominously adds that Antonio can look forward to extraction of his bond. Serenio cannot believe that Shylock would really want a pound of Antonio's flesh, but Shylock affirms that he wants it to feed his revenge on Antonio for mocking him, accusing him to lose money, and insulting the Jewish nation. Celerio asks Shylock what good a pound of Antonio's flesh will do him, but Shylock dismisses the line of question as irrelevant. He is after vengeance, not reimbursement. Celerio and Celerio learn from a messenger that Antonio awaits them at his house. One of Antonio's servants enters and announces that Antonio would like to see Selenio and Selenio. As they leave, Tubal, a Jewish friend of Shylock's, comes there, arrives with news coming both Jessica and Antonio. Tubal has been searching for Jessica in Genio. Geno. In Geno, Tubal learned that another of Antonio's ship was lost coming away from Tripoli and has heard rumors of her but has been unable to find her. Shylock rants against his daughter and bemoans his financial losses. He is especially bitter when Tubal reports that Jessica has taken a ring given to Shylock by a woman named Leigh, presumably Jessica's mother, and has traded that ring for a monkey. Shylock rejoices at the news, but this is soon tempered by the knowledge that Jessica has been frivolously spending his money. He is dismayed to find that she has traded a ring given by his wife, but Tubal comforts him by reminding him of Antonio's bad luck. Shylock asks Tubal to arrange to have an officer arrest Antonio, and they part, making plans to meet later at their synagogue. The Jeb, Shylock, and Tubala share a camaraderie that is similar to that shared by the Venetian Christians. Shylock rants against his daughter and wishes her dead as he bemoans his losses. He is especially embittered when Tubal reports that Jessica has taken a ring given a Shylock in his bachelor day by a woman named Leigh, presumably Jessica's mother, and has traded that ring for a monkey. Jessica's sale for mother's ring marks her as unfaithful to her family's past and suggests that Jessica is willing to sell her virginity for animal lust. It also foreshadows what will happen when Portia and Narcia give rings to their husband later in the play. Shylock expresses Brighton, however, when Tubal reports that Antonio's ship has run into trouble and the Antonio's credit are certain. Antonio is ruined. Shylock is somewhat consoled, though, when Tubal reminds him that Antonio has lost another and is certainly undone. Shylock announces that he will take certainly the flesh of his pond of flesh. He then tells Tubal to go and meet him later at another place. This plot thickness for Antonio, threatening to make him a pound thinner. Not one but two of his sheep, the audience learns, have come to ruin, throwing his finances into chaos and bankruptcy. Shylock already feels he has grounds to detain the merchant in order to ensure his adherence to the terms of their bond, as is the case in most scenes in which he appears. However, Shylock steals the show here. He utters one of the most famous speeches of the play, if not of Shakespeare's generally, the hath not a jave eyes. This speech may initially strike a reader or audience member as an eloquent plea for racial and religious harmony, exclaiming in the dramatic line. Again, the speech we see by Shylock: if you prick us, do we not bleed? If you take us, do we not laugh? If you poison us, do we not die? There is, however, a sinister undercurrent running throughout the speech. Shylock follows the above lines with, and if you wrong us, shall we not revenge? In this line, the plea for harmony explicitly spills over into the harsher eye for an eye sentiments of Mosaic law. Keep in mind that the tension in this speech is between its forceful eloquence and its purpose as a justification for performing brutal violence against Antonio. The skilled talkers in Shakespeare's play, be they as silly as Polonius in another play of Shakespeare, one